This has to be it. The cabin Zephyrus told us about.
I hope the trees were right.
They seemed pretty honest, but it's been so long since I've seen someone walking into those woods. That's quite concerning.
Hey, don't lose hope yet. Maybe we'll get lucky. Let's get inside and look for clues. There must be something here. Something that can lead us to the navigator.
You must love music. Look at all these instruments.
That's weird. These scores. They remind me of my old music lessons.
Lovette? Have you been keeping up with your scales, or have your fingers been too busy rummaging through other people's possessions?
Master Zaria?
You two know each other?
Sionanch, this is Master Zaria. She was my music teacher when I was young. But how? What are you doing here?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. Have your adventures been an excuse to slang on your discipline, child?
Well, I've learned more songs and stories than scales lately, but I swear they're worth hearing.
We will see about that. A true musician finds the music in all things, even in chaos. But tell me, what brings you to my humble home, aside from evading your practice?
Your home? You're the Celestial Navigator.
Indeed I am, and by looking at my pupil being far away from her home, I can understand the reason you are here, but how? What did you do, child?
I've spread truth, inspiration, and power to people with my songs, learned a few more spells, maybe killed some powerful folks, exposed some thieves' guilds they wanted to remain undercovered, and apparently some people didn't like that. You know.
You messed with some dangerous people, Lovette. The Holy Chains is not something you should take lightly.
The Holy Chains.
You haven't told her yet? Well, sit down. There are many things that you need to know. As you have possibly understood by now, this world is not the only one that exists. There are plenty of other worlds out there. One of them is the one Lovette comes from, and it's called the Double Reach.
The Double Reach? That's the first time I...
Don't interrupt my lecture, child.
Sorry, Master.
As I was saying, the Double Reach was created 300 years ago.
300? But that's... Sorry. Please continue.
It sounds like a very new world. It is and it isn't. Because the Double Reach was once a part of a whole world called the Reach.
What? What are you saying?
That your world, Lovette, is just the half of another one. Yet, I don't even know about this other world, and I've never managed to go there or even find it.
And what about this Holy Chains?
Many more years ago, there was this world known as the Reach. It was united under the rule of two kings whose boundless greed for land led to endless wars. These conflicts brought havoc upon the kingdom, scarring the land and bringing despair to its people. As the years passed and the damage grew, a group of 10 wise and powerful archmages could no longer stand idly by. They approached the kings with a bold proposal to split the Reach into two separate worlds, ensuring that each king would have his own realm to govern without the temptation of encroaching on the other. The kings consented and signed a magical contract which led to the divide of that world to two separate ones. In the world that remained, your world, Lovette, the king erected an enigmatic fortress known by many as the Holy Chains and by some as the Devil's Skull. Within its walls, the king and the selected few demigods duel in secrecy. From this secluded stronghold, they pull the strings of our world, waving their hidden agendas into the very fabric of people's lives.
Lovette, is Emmett a demigod?
Yes, a Time Lord.
So, he's the one who sent you here. You pieced a demigod. Well, I can't say that I don't feel a bit of pride for my student. That's not an easy task to manage.
Master Zaria, please, can you help us go back? I need to go back to the Double Reach, and Sionanch needs to go back in time and save her friends.
Back to where the spell plague took place.
Even though I can manipulate the space around me and bring Lovette back to her world, unfortunately my powers cannot break the circle of time. And even if they did, I don't know if I'd use them. Time is a complicated thing, and by playing with it, we risk everything. Sometimes we must accept what life brings to us and move on. You should too.
But they came back for me. They managed to travel back in time so they could rescue me.
No way. Who did this?
My friend Echo. He's a deep gnome wizard.
Which school did he attend?
Divination.
Divination? He is a stupid one too. A divination wizard who tries to bend the time. Of course that would happen. Where is that gnome now?
He's in a cataleptic state since he cast that spell. I managed to go out, but my friend May, who was helping him, was stuck back there. And now I need to save them. Both of them.
I knew it. There's only one thing I can do for you, Druid. What I'm thinking is that your friend was incapable to do such a powerful spell from a school he never attended. So I think that his soul got separated from his body and maybe flows somewhere in an astral plane. I can take us there and you can talk to him. Maybe he'll be able to give you more answers and help you on your quest. But that's the most I can do.
It's just another step, so yeah. Please take me to him.
Get some rest for now. We'll try it out in the morning. I need to gather the components I need for the spells.
Welcome to another episode of the B&D podcast. I am Val, and I'll be your host for today. Yes, you heard it. This is my debut as a journalist. How proud baby Val would be interviewing someone for the first time. So we decided to do something different for this episode. So don't panic, Zefi, for what I'm about to say. Since the new expansion of Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail just came out, Zefi has been obsessing over this game for so many years and has been forcing me into joining her to play together. So we thought, what a better way to sell this game to me by selling it to all of you out there. And who's the one I'm interviewing today, you ask? It's Zefi, an expert, a devotee, if I may say, a Final Fantasy XIV enthusiast. Welcome, Zefi.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. To be honest, this episode was about to be something else, but unfortunately, things don't always go according to plan. And Val had this great idea to talk about Final Fantasy XIV. And I was so excited since it's the new expansion, Dawntrail. It's officially out now. So we wanted to celebrate it since I am so obsessed with it. And now my today's quest is to convince my dear friend to actually play it again with me. So thank you, Val, for this opportunity to let your friend mumble about one of her favorite online games.
I am glad I get to have my own talk show for the day. Interviewing people was always a dream.
Yes.
So I'm excited to learn all about Final Fantasy XIV today. So let's start with our first question, shall we?
Yes, please.
How and when, Zefi, did you start playing Final Fantasy XIV?
I started playing Final Fantasy XIV in 2021, a few months before the Endwalker expansion was released, and I was always a huge fan of WoW, at least how it used to be. So I didn't like the idea of the Final Fantasy XIV. And then one of my friends started playing it and he wanted me to try it out, but it wasn't that interested, But your friends know which buttons they should push to convince you otherwise. So he started sending me screenshots of the character creation and the equipment, the clothes, the abilities. And to be honest, he got me at the character creation. So I was like, whatever, let's give it a shot. And that shot became a bullet. I didn't dodge, obviously. And we spent so much time in the game. And whenever we were not online playing it, we would discuss about it. Good old times. And the funny thing is that my friend, who introduced me to Final Fantasy back then, doesn't play the game anymore. A traitor, as I call him. And I hope he listens to this. But yeah, that's how I started playing.
Lovely story. Sentimental, I'd even call it, Zefi. Tell me though, what is the most interesting thing about Final Fantasy XIV that makes it so special, and why should we all start playing it?
It may differ for each one of us. It depends on what someone wants from the game, but Final Fantasy XIV has basically everything. You want to personalize your character? Tick. You want to build your own house and have your own garden? Tick. You want to create an OP build? Tick. You are a lore junkie? Tick. You like crafting and make money out of it? Tick. You want to grind? What's wrong with you? Who likes grinding? But there are so many more things that you can do. And one thing that is not that much of importance, but I greatly appreciate it, is that there are times that you can choose how to answer or what to say in specific cutscenes. They don't have the power to change the narrative of the game, but that makes you feel closer to your character and the story. Create their personality, and it gives you space to think about who you want your character to be, to create their own story. And also, one more thing. For those of you who have played WoW and you were part of an RP server, Final Fantasy XIV has that too, but way better. As I've said, you can create your own house or your own nightclub or cafe, and there are people who work there as security, PRs, dancers, bartenders, etc., and they're getting paid with in-game money. So, some serious business going on there. And there are a lot of different thematic parties with different music depending on your likings. There are parties where you can listen to metal, others that play rock, others that play pop, K-pop, etc. And I was playing with my friend. When I was playing with my friend, we used to go to many of them. It was so much fun, and the music was great. We found out so many great songs from there with the help of Shazam. But beware, because there are a lot of thirsty people out there too. So take care.
Oh, I don't want to know about this.
That's great. I will take you there someday.
I don't know if I want to.
It doesn't matter. I'll take you by force.
Let's move on to the next question. Care to tell us a bit more about the races and classes of Final Fantasy XIV?
Oh, there's so many of them. Where should I start? For races, you can choose between here, who are basically humans, Elezen, who are basically elves, Lalafels, who are the gnomes of the D&D. They're short and cute folks. Mikot, who are humans with cat-like features like ears and tails. Rogadin, who seem like Goliaths. They're very big and strong. Aura, humans with dragon-like characteristics. Hrothgar, which is a new race from the new expansion, and they're basically human-like lions. And finally, Viera, who are human-like rabbits. They're so beautiful and they have the best clothes to wear. And for me, it is favoritism, period. Now about the classes. Brace yourselves here, because the class system is divided into several categories. Disciples of War, Magic, Land, and Hand. If you choose Disciples of War, you can go with these options. Gladiator, Paladin, Sword and Shield, Defensive Tank, Marauder, Warrior, Axe, Powerful Offensive Tank, the forever meta, trust me. Dark Knight, Greatsword, Tank with dark magic abilities. Gunbreaker, Gunblade, Versatile tank with combo skills. Monk, hand-to-hand combat, fast and agile DPS, or Pugilist, that's what they call it. Lancer or Dragoon, Spear, jumps, and powerful single-target DPS. Rogue, Ninja, dual-wielding stealth and high-burst DPS. Samurai, you can use a katana. High damage melee DPS with combos, and I personally love this one. Reaper, you can use a scythe, melee DPS with dark powers. I love this one too. Archer, Bard, bow with, a support DPS with songs that aid allies. I am this one. So, Machinist, firearms DPS with mechanical turrets and gadgets. And finally, Dancer, you can throw weapons, support DPS with dance-based buffs. And I also love this one. And then we have Disciples of Magic, from where you can choose between these ones. Conjurer or White Mage, primary healer with powerful healing spells. Scholar, healer with Fairy Companion and shields. Astrologian, you can hold a star globe, a healer with time and space magic. Thaumaturge, Black Mage, high damage caster with elemental spell. Arcanist, summoner, DPS with summoned creatures and damage over time spells. Red Mage, with a rapier and crystal. Hybrid caster with melee abilities. And Blue Mage, who learns enemy abilities. It is a limited job with unique spell casting. In this expansion, there are 2 new classes you can choose and follow. The Viper, which is a melee DPS with twin blades, and the Painter, which is a ranged DPS support, and you can use a brush and a palette as a weapon. It is so cute. And then for our crafters who choose Disciples of the Land, here are your options. You can be a miner and extract minerals and ores, a botanist, you can harvest plants and trees, and a fisher. And if you choose Disciples of Hand, you can be a carpenter, blacksmith, armorer, goldsmith, leatherworker, weaver, alchemist, and culinarian. I hope I didn't miss anything. If I did, please let us know. They're too much to handle.
Oof, so much variety indeed.
Yes.
I think I did create a Wildwood Elizin persona when we play. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure I started as a conjurer or a white mage. I'm not really sure because obviously I wanted to play the support, but if I could choose, I definitely choose Sage. I know that this is a class you unlock later on in the game, but my patience and lack of time didn't last long enough to actually unlock it.
That's fair. Because you started with a conjurer to unlock the white mage at 30 level. And now that you mentioned this, here's also something important before you play. The players begin their journey by selecting a base class, which they can play up to level 30. These initial classes are Gladiator, Marauder, Pugilist, Lancer, Archer, Rogue, Conjurer, Thaumaturge, and Arcanist. At level 30, players can then transition to a more specialized job. For example, a Thaumaturge can become a Black Mage, gaining access to a broader array of powerful spells and abilities specific to that job. Additionally, some classes and jobs are introduced in expansions and are available starting at higher levels. For instance, the Reaper class, which was introduced in the Endwalker expansion, starts at level 70, if I'm not mistaken. So be patient, guys. Be patient. We need patience in this game.
And interesting. Let's see if I'll even find enough time to even get to level 30.
Oh, yeah. Time is your personal BBG.
I think that is so true. My favorite question, though, is coming up next.
Okay.
So what about its character customization? Is it any good?
I personally like it. It doesn't have that much of a choice or detail, but it's an honest work. You can choose your physical features, hair and eye options, facial details, voice and expressions. Though that's kind of silly because your character never speaks. They only use their voice if they want to cheer as an emote, but nothing more. Also, gear and glamour. Glamour is the WoW's transmog, the translation. I love collecting gear and dressing my character according to the theme situations she finds herself into. I'm just a girl in the end of the day. And yeah, that's basically it.
I'll say it is definitely impressive when it comes to character customization. Loads of options to choose for an actual MMORPG game, I think.
Yes, I used to say the same thing till Dragon's Dogma 2 came out, and I'm like, this character customization, I need a new PC now.
Same.
Yes, please.
May I just ask though, what's the leveling up process like? Because it sounds a bit confusing. Is there a specific level that you stop leveling up, if it makes any sense? Is there like a way to finish the game, if you know what I mean?
There are many ways to level up, mostly by going through the MSQ, main story quest. But if you want to change your class for your character and try to level up them again from scratch with this class, then you can also do side quests, dungeons, a lot of dungeons, trials, in which you fight a specific monster, and many more. But dungeons and trials give you the most of XP to move on. And yes, unfortunately, you stop the MSQ progress by the end of the newest expansion, waiting for another patch, and after a few years for a new expansion to continue. So now you understand how much hyped I am that the new expansion finally came out. For example, the Dawntrail will reach level 99 or maybe 100, I don't know. That's the peak of the game. In order to go higher than that, we'll have to wait till the next expansion. But even after reaching the current level cap, there is plenty to do, like grinding for better gear by participating in high-level dungeons, trials, and raids, endgame content in which you engage in challenging endgame activities, including extreme trials, raids, and PvP. The extreme trials are for the most hardcore people out there and dedicated and patient. Definitely not me. And crafting and gathering, you can maximize your skills in crafting and gathering professions. And finally, social and housing activities. As we've said, you can customize your house and participate in community events.
It does. It's giving World of Warcraft anime style.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
I also wanted to know though, who is your favorite character of the game and why?
My heart, my soul. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior himself? Okay, guys, this man broke my heart, fixed it, and broke it again. He's the definition of how an interesting villain should be. I don't want to spoil you, but Emmett, you know what? For those of you who haven't played Final Fantasy XIV and want to play, or those who currently play but they haven't finished it yet, please skip this question. Skip it. I see you. I'm not gonna warn you again. Massive spoilers ahead. So please go. Now that they're gone, I hope they're gone. What's not to like? Emmett comes from the first world. The only world that once existed, and it was like heaven. And then their world was about to be destroyed, and they made so many sacrifices of their people to Zodiark, a powerful supernatural being to sustain it. But the sacrifices they had to make time and time again were countless. So then Vena, another great and powerful character who wanted to put an end to this, sacrificed herself to another supernatural being, Hydaelyn. They fought each other, and through their fight, 14 reflections of this once world were created. All the people disappeared, and actually their essence was separated into 14 parts, except from a small group who sworn to bring their world back. And these people we have fought since day one. One of them is Emmett. And while he wants to destroy our world, and we maybe hate him for it, we later see that we are not that much different. He is a desperate and lonely man who wants to bring back his home, his people, his friends, his loved ones, and he can do that by wiping us out. And we, on the other hand, want to protect our home and people and friends and loved ones. And we can do that by keeping his world wiped out. So why is he the villain and we are the heroes? And I felt that because it was such a good writing, and then you learn more and more about him that you cannot hate him. On the contrary, you start to appreciate him. And personally, my character now in Final Fantasy XIV, in my mind, wants to honor their name, his name, and travel and learn things you didn't know. I literally said nothing about it and about him. There are so many more things to know and love about Emmett, trust me.
He sounds like I can fix some kind of guy.
Yes, I can fix him, I swear.
Anyway, care to tell us more about the areas you can explore in the game? What's the best area in your opinion?
What I also love about Final Fantasy XIV is that they get inspiration by different cultures. For example, there is a place called Isgard. It is one of my favorite areas. It is a Gothic fortress inspired by medieval Europe, particularly French Gothic architecture, and the city is divided in noble and common districts, highlighting the class divide and the influence of the church. My second one is Kogane, one of the best areas in Final Fantasy XIV. It's giving of Edo period Japan vibes, so many cultural details from the city's architecture and bustling streets to the serene gardens. And finally, my most favorite one, not because I am biased, I swear, maybe a little bit, it is Elpis. It reminds you of ancient Greece, and what's even more amazing is that the names of some creatures and masters were Greek words of names. Even the name of this area itself, Elpis, comes from the Greek word elpida, which means hope. And I'm so emotional that it happened to be a huge part of my favorite character's storyline. And I was so emotional back then, and I still am. I did all the side quests in that territory just to honor this character and to honor this area. But there are so many more amazing and inspiring places I love, inspired by so many other wonderful cultures. It's worth it.
That sounds dead cool, actually. I also wanted to know, though, what has been the best expansion of Final Fantasy XIV, you think?
Shadowbringers and Endwalker, hands down. It is worth playing the game just for you to reach these two expansions. They are masterpieces. For those of you who like a good story and beautiful dungeons, I cried so much to both of them. But another great expansion is the Heavensward. It was such a great story with many great places to visit, and it was very inspiring in general. But Shadowbringers and Endwalker.
What about the worst one?
Oh, well, my worst one was the first one, to be honest, A Realm Reborn. It is very slow and boring, and once you go to Heavensward after the Realm Reborn, you will understand that the whole first chapter was just the tutorial. I'm not exaggerating here. Seriously, it was just the tutorial. Guys, believe me, brothers and sisters, trust the process. Don't give up.
I will never give up. What about the dungeons, though? What are they like? Difficult for a noob like me?
Well, they are demanding, but not that hard. You always have a team by your side. That's the good part. And if your team knows the mechanics of each dungeons and trials, you're going to be fine. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the queue times. If you're a DPS player like me, patience becomes your best friend as you wait for your chance to dive into the action. Tanks and healers, though, they're the heroes of the queues. Instant pops mean they're in high demands, and rightfully so. So these classes are easier and quicker to level up. But for you hardcore gamers out there, definitely not me, there are trials that are called Extreme and Savage. I have no more to say. You can clearly understand the reason they are called this way, but I love the mechanics you need to use during the fights. I just need someone to explain them to me and be patient with me in these modes because I'm getting super excited and nervous that I always end up doing something stupid. And that's why I need some time till I can manage. But if you're kind enough and calm enough, I really enjoy playing these modes. Usually, people are not calm enough and kind enough, and here's why I don't play these modes.
Sounds promising, maybe.
Yeah, it depends on the team.
Yeah. Serious question, though.
Mm-hmm.
What about the community?
Well, the community of Final Fantasy XIV is great overall, but there's still these kind of people who want to ruin it for you. But I play for about 3 years now, and I've only met 4 to 5 people who were toxic to their party. And if you play LOL, 5 toxic people in 3 years is nothing. Nothing.
It definitely can be more toxic than the League of Legends community.
Nothing is more toxic than the League of Legends community.
On to the next question, though. Mm-hmm. How is Final Fantasy XIV... I'm excited about this. How is Final Fantasy XIV connected to our storyline here in B&D? How is Lovette part of the Final Fantasy XIV universe?
As I've said in the first episode, Lovette's journey as my character started with Final Fantasy XIV. I loved the concept, I loved her abilities, the lore, the areas, everything. Many things from her backstory are inspired by this game, and our D&D campaign was inspired by too, because my friend who persuaded me to start Final Fantasy XIV, the traitor, was also my DM in this amazing campaign we used to run, and my personal goal is to connect her backstory to the Final Fantasy XIV story, at least in my mind. So I can enjoy the game even more. Is that too weird? I don't know. Let me give you an example. Few days ago, I was doing a quest from the new expansion in which some bandits stole the bracelet from an old woman, which her stepdaughter gave to her. And she was like, I would gladly give them my whole fortune, but not this bracelet. And if you've heard episode 15, Lovette had accidentally, Val can prove that to you, Val can vouch for me, they had accidentally a similar event. So I told her that I'll bring her bracelet back no matter what. And that added layers of inspiration and connection and character understanding in my mind. And it is my personal joy, to create lore and connect dots. And I'm a weird one. I know. It's fair. I'm a weird one. I know.
I love this. Easter eggs everywhere. Yes. Everywhere.
Yes, I love that. We're Taylor Swift fans. Of course we like Easter eggs.
We are masterminds. I will stop fangirling though now. So, what have been your first thoughts about the new expansion? Since you've spent, let's just say, 72 hours playing nonstop.
I wish they were 72 hours, but I also need sleep and food. And I have to go to work, but I have pre-ordered the expansion, to be honest. And that means I was able to play it 3 days before the official release. And I have done all my to-do list by Friday, so I wouldn't have to worry about cleaning or cooking or whatever else. Spoilers incoming, so I suggest you to skip this question too. I still haven't finished the MSQ. That's good, because it has so much content. But I'm kind of confused on how I am supposed to feel with this expansion. The last one ended with us saving our whole star. So now we take a rest and explore. We try to help a princess, Woklamat, to take the throne of her nation. And in doing so, we must find the legendary Golden City, if it really exists, to begin with. To be fair, it reminds me of a Naruto and a One Piece mashup. And in some parts, it's pretty cringe, to be honest. Everything is so calm and peaceful, and the power of friendship and understanding and peace and all, but it was kind of boring. Till something happens that gives a plot twist, a good plot twist, but still it gives me the vibes that this expansion is made to set the foundation for future epic expansions. And if it is what I think it is, I may faint from the hype. Seriously, but still, a whole expansion just for the foundation of a future amazing expansion 3 years later? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't concluded it yet, and Yoshi P never ceases to amaze me, but we'll see. So far, it is neither amazing nor bad. It's okay. It's an okay expansion. I need to touch grass at some point, though. But I want to make a question now. I want to ask you, was I convincing enough?
Well,
Drum
everything
rolls.
sounds quite promising, at least to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm sold on the idea of giving this another go, maybe.
Yes!
When I find the time. When I find the time, I will do. I promise.
We'll find the time.
But let us know in the comments what you think. Are you considering starting playing too after all this information that you just got?
Start.
Anyway, though, I do think we should wrap this up here. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Goodbye for now, and until next time, may all your rolls be a natural 20. Bye.
Bye.